Hey everyone, this is Retro Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about comedies about local institutions and the communities they serve.
I'm Bill Murray. You're everybody else.
Are you crazy? She's never gonna buy it.
Yeah. She doesn't know what the movie's supposed to look like. The only thing that she knows is what's on this box. She's never seen it before. If we stay 10 feet away from the camera, she's not gonna recognize us. We come up with some special effects, and we do it ourselves. She's gonna be back in like 2 hours and 45 minutes. She's on the phone with Fletcher every night. The first scene is at the library. And take that thing off, please. Okay.
And action.
Start over. Sorry, cut.
What?
I looked right in the lens. We gotta start over.
We can't start.
I looked right in the lens.
You just have to do one good take, all right? Don't listen. What you're doing is good. Just
I
do
am
the
doing
same
good,
thing.
right?
Yeah, just do the
Am I
same
doing
thing.
great?
You're doing great, but
All
don't
right.
look at.
You're doing good too,
All right, thanks,
with the
thanks.
cinematography.
Okay, good. Go check the cards. Check the cards. Okay, you're doing. That's good. That's right. That's great. That's good. Put your head down. Put your head down.
I can't see.
Okay, go back to the shelf. Suspecting nothing. It goes. It goes.
You're walking down the street and you see a little ghost. What you gonna do about Ghostbusters?
What is that?
That's the Ghostbusters theme song.
No.
I'm pretty sure it is.
So that right there was a scene of Be Kind, Rewind, starring Mos Def, Jack Black, Danny Glover, and a couple other cameos from different comedic actors and actresses. And it's about a film about a dying video store due to brand new technology or newer technology, DVDs, and failing to really adapt to the time. The video store finds itself now at the brink of closure. So, and the film goes on from there. Rob, let's jump right into it. What were your thoughts about this film?
Well, this is I haven't watched this movie in a while, and then I recently just watched it when I found out we were going to do this. And you know what? This movie, I feel like it kind of hit me in a little bit in the sentimentals, because we are movie fans, but also it reminded me a little bit just of the way they were shooting their videos. After what happens with Jack Black. It reminded me of when we would go out and just kind of shoot videos and stuff. So that's the first thing I thought of. So it kind of was like, oh, hey, like, just brings back a little bit of the feels. But I really like how kind of, not to say low budget, but how kind of like just very, there's a word I'm looking for. You probably know what the word is. But just kind of how grounded.
Nostalgic?
Well, no, it's not so much nostalgic, but just very grounded.
Okay.
In what this movie was, it's not like a big set kind of movie or anything like that. It takes place kind of around
It's a smaller picture. It doesn't have like some sort of something like some grander story.
It's very basic, very grounded film. And this movie did a lot for me as far as it reminded me of when I would go to the video store. And this being an older movie, we've seen this where it's the progression from video, VHS tapes to DVDs to 4K. We've seen this progression, so it's just like I was watching it.
Well,
I was like,
it's funny because it's interesting because this film came out in 2008, and again, it's about the time when VHS was no longer being made. I think it was like a year or two after that when they finally stopped printing VHS tapes.
Right.
And you had, at that time, DVDs already were in full swing. But now you had, HD or Blu-rays, and then now you have HD Blu-rays, and then or 4K Blu-rays, and then now we have streaming. So it's
Right,
interesting to see
right,
the progression of technology in 12 short years, how it's advanced. And
right.
you know, like for me, the film, what really, like what you said, spoke to me was, yeah, that nostalgic. Like I remember going with my dad to, you know, Hollywood Video or Blockbuster, and renting, you know, and then spending, you know, a good amount of time there just browsing
Oh yeah.
through the catalog of you know, VHS tapes, and then DVDs later on. And you know, and so that kind of spoke to me, and like what you had said, when, you know, because we've known each other for a long time now, and we would go out and shoot our own like little movies, so to speak, and we had fun doing them. They were terrible, but they were fun, and nobody
Yes.
will ever see them except for us. But you know, but it was fun. And you know, just the story too about this film, about the community, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
about the changing of time, but also what the store kind of represents to the community, and what the history, again, it's kind of talking about like the history of Fats Wilder, a famous jazz musician from back in the day. You know, they're trying to say, oh, he was born here and whatever. And so this community taking ownership of their history,
Right.
and also kind of coming together to try to support this video store in its dying days. And I love those stories, because those are the story, that's really the part of the story that really spoke to me, and that really kind of hit home for me, and kind of gave me the feels a little bit, especially at the end, the very end scene when they're watching their original film, because throughout the film they're
Yeah.
making, because the backstory of the film is that Jack Black's character kind of ruins all the videotapes in the film and in the store, and now they have to kind of recreate the films so people can rent something. And so at the very end, they make their own film, an original story about their community and the history of their community. And so that very end scene when they watch that movie, it was really nice finish to this film, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. And so I don't know, Rob, what were your do you have any other thoughts on that one?
Yeah, no, it just, I mean, even just what you were saying, like, I mean, I would go, my grandpa would take me, not even to Blockbuster or like Hollywood, just to, you know, those little mom and pop shops that
Yeah,
had
the ones that
video
they charge
rentals.
you
Yeah,
like 90 cents for a tape or
yeah.
something.
You know, my grandpa would take me there, and I would spend, you know, an hour looking for what movie I was gonna watch that weekend. But definitely, you know, you touched on the story, and just the way this movie touched me was just the, like how it said, you know, the relationships that, because you know, we've known each other, and even, you know, your
Yeah,
brothers and stuff, we've all known each other for a while, and we've gone out and shot videos, and just this kind of like brought that to me, reminded me of like, oh yeah, I remember when we used to do that. Or, and you know, also just with the video stores, and just kind of seeing how there's really not too many video stores anymore. It's all, you know, kind
yeah.
of
You know, it's
streaming.
funny
And
is, there's one that's about, you know, maybe 2 minutes away from my house, and I actually just saw a sign, that they're basically, I think they're closing, you know, because they
yeah,
were selling
see,
everything. And so it's you know, it's sad, because this is part of VOD home entertainment industry that's
yeah,
basically gone completely away because of the changing of the time and how people
right,
consume their media through, you know, streaming. You know,
yeah,
and it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting conversation. You know, but yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this film, and again, I liked it because of the sense of community that you get with this film. Not only because it's funny, but also because, like I said, it's just something that people can relate to. Like what
yeah,
we're talking about. You know, we remember those times growing up. You know, watching these films,
yes,
and going to the stores and stuff like that. So it's really cool. I really recommend people get off that fence and check it out, and rent it for VOD, and give it a watch.
yes,
So
definitely.
let's
Same here. I'd say get off the fence and watch it, because
yeah,
it's a great watch.
yeah. So let's talk about another community, which takes place in the city of Chicago. This film came out in 2002. Stars Ice Cube, Anthony Anderson, Cedric the Entertainer, the rapper Eve, and a few other um, named stars. And let's go ahead and take a look at that film right now, called Barbershop.
Oh, bro. Kevin.
What that boy
I
name?
done told you 4 times. That's Ricky.
Ricky! Ricky!
What?
What the hell you think you doing over there?
Hey, look, I'm just trying to get them clean like them Gillette commercials, you know?
See, that's the problem with y'all today. Y'all don't know nothing. Sit up there, just watch too much TV and listen to that Jigger Ray and all them folk coming there, hibbity-hobbity nonsense, and don't know nothing. Let me, sir, you mind? Rick, get that off there and lean him back. Lean him back right there. Roots, give me a hot towel.
Dinka, Eddie, Dinka.
I tell you, these young boys don't know nothing. Let me get this lathered up here. Yeah. Put that towel on his feet.
Okay.
Get your phone nice and elaborate. Y'all come on around here and learn something. Hey, you finish that up. Put that on there, Ricky. Put that on the other side over there. See, in my day, a barber was more than just somebody who sit around in a FUBU shirt with his drawers hanging all out. In my day, a barber was a counselor. He was a fashion expert. He style coach, pimp, just general all-around hustler. But the problem with y'all cats today is that you got no skill, no sense of history. And then, with a straight face, got the nerve to want to be somebody, want somebody to respect you. But it take respect to get respect. Understand? See, I'm old, but Lord willing, I'd be spared the sight of seeing everything that we had worked it for flushed down the drain by someone who don't know no better or care.
Calvin.
What you want to do here to make sure the skin
Hey, baby.
Can we
is
talk in the
all the way
back?
tight. That's coming right on off there. See, that's smooth. When he get through, his face gonna be real smooth, like Gary Coleman.
So that scene was with Cedric the Entertainer kind of dropping some head knowledge on the other barbers in the shop there. Rob, this is basically a film that's about a day in the life of a barbershop, a local barbershop in the city of Chicago, and all the people and the faces that you see in a barbershop and the community around it. So, Rob, what are your thoughts on this film?
You know what? Here's the thing. I've never been to Chicago, so I don't know what Chicago barbershops are like. But my grandma used to take me to her style salon, and it's pretty much the same thing, except there was just more Spanish speaking going on. But you know what? I forgot how funny this movie was, and Ice Cube is kind of not. I'm trying to think how to. It's not that Ice Cube kind of plays the same character, I feel like, in most of his movies, but in this particular movie, I feel like he wasn't playing a character. I feel like maybe this was something that was more kind of like just Ice Cube being Ice Cube in this movie. Everyone in the barbershop, I mean, you can relate to this, because even if this conversations that were happening in this barbershop is something that where you can take this out, and it's like, oh, this is conversations I've had with my friends. And this movie, to me, I feel like I got a lot more of the community kind of vibe from this movie. And just how the Cedric the Entertainer, just how he's just, how you were saying, just dropping knowledge. And I've seen older folks do stuff like this, and it's just that's what makes it so funny, because this is almost it's pretty much life imitating, art imitating life, and it's hilarious.
That's what I was going to say is, I remember, there's a barbershop that my dad used to take us when we were younger, and there's just the conversations that you would have, like, with the barber, and you would hear in the barbershop there just, that's why I really like that scene, because it's true. Like, what he says is like, the barber, it was like your counselor, whatever. And because you're just there and you talk and you have these conversations and you hear, even now when I go to certain barbershops, guys are just talking about sports or, movies or whatever. And, and it's just kind of, that's the way it is. And you get different characters from all different walks of life kind of coming in and out. because I think that's one thing that's universal. Everybody usually gets a haircut.
Yeah.
And but yeah, no, and I like that about this film. And yeah, I forgot how funny it was, because to be honest, I hadn't really watched it since it came out, which was,
Yeah.
so, so it's probably about what, like 16 years ago now. And so, I mean, God, it's like, or 18 years ago now.
18
And
years,
so,
yeah.
yeah, it's a long time. And so it was like, I had a hard time remembering everything. But when we were talking about doing this one, I watched it again, and it's like, yeah, there's some really hilarious parts in here.
Oh yeah.
Like the whole, it's like a comedy of errors with Anthony Anderson's character, and I can't remember the name of the other actor he's with. And they're trying to steal this ATM, and it's like nothing can go right for them, and that was
Yeah.
just hilarious. And Cedric the Entertainer, like, just like, it's funny because he reminds me of, sometimes you get like these older, older people coming in and kind of can be a little grumpy at times, but like,
Yeah.
sometimes they have words of wisdom. Sometimes they just like, they're just, saying things that are completely off the wall, but but you respect them because of who they are and that they've been around and all that other stuff. But it's just, it's something that, yeah, I really, you get a sense of community through this
Right,
film.
yeah.
And I really liked it. I mean, for me, if there's one thing that I could say that I didn't really like too much, was pretty much the very end of the film, where how Ice Cube's character kind of deals with the whole loan
Oh,
shark thing.
yeah.
That thing was
Okay.
like a little bit ridiculous to me, but overall, I thought this film was really solid, really good. And yeah, it's something that, again, you can relate to, because I remember, as a kid going to the barbershop, and then now being older going to a barbershop, it's something that, yeah, it's great. I liked it a lot.
Oh yeah, I know, and just like, I mean, like how you were saying, and well, how that clip with Cedric, you sit, for whatever reason, you sit down in the barber chair, and you just open up to these people. How you're having conversations, and
Yeah.
some people you go to for years, and they're almost like a friend to you, and it's just, that's how the barbershop was, is your community, and you've known people for years. And I'm glad we did this one, because it just reminded me of how not only funny this was, but just,
Yeah.
it kind of just brought back, like, oh yeah, this is how stuff was, or this is how stuff is. And it's
Yeah.
just it puts a smile on your face. One thing I will say, just from Be Kind Rewind into this movie, I feel like they kind of, towards the end, they kind of go off in different places as far as the overall ending, what happens. And
Yeah.
I like that about both movies, because you kind of get, and I'm not going to say what happens or anything, but you kind of get one aspect of what happens, and then in this other movie you kind of get another aspect of what happens.
Yeah,
And
because the
I really
outcome is a
enjoy
little
that.
bit different. Like,
Yeah.
one is a little bit more happier than the other, and seeing how they kind of play out. But again,
Yeah.
two really strong films about
Yes.
community and those local institutions that people kind of go to for advice or whatever, and just to find comfort in those places. And that's why I was glad we kind of picked these two films to talk about, because again, they are very entertaining, but they also have something to say.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about both of them. I was trying to think, when I was watching Barbershop, it reminded me of another film that came out, I think, in the 70s, which was called Car Wash. And I
Okay.
don't know if you've ever seen that one, the original one. That one was very similar to the Barbershop. And again, same thing. It's a local car wash, and again, there's that same theme where they're dealing with the changing of times and struggling financially and trying to find a way to stay afloat. And I think that's something, again, universal. People always kind of have their struggles, but
Yeah.
they find a way to try to make things work. But yeah, two great films. I really enjoyed
Yes.
them. I would recommend getting off the fence for both of them, checking them out on VOD. You can rent them both, buy them both, whatever, and however you choose to watch it. But that's my recommendation. Rob?
Oh, definitely. I agree with you for both of those movies. I would definitely say get off the fence and check both of those movies out. Both, I feel like, really good movies in their own, both comedies, but just really good movies with the kind of the backbone of community and kind of family and friends.
Well, guys, thank you for watching Retro Review with us, and these comedies that deal with local institutions and the communities that they serve. If you have any other suggestions, kind of following the same line about films about communities. Maybe they don't have to be comedy. They could be, a drama about a community and what they're dealing with. Why don't you give us a comment down below and let us know what that recommendation is. Maybe we'll check it out. Also, don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, and follow us on Instagram for all that behind the scenes content on the Fence Movie Reviews on Instagram.
And remember, we'll catch you on the fence.